Ruth, thank you very much for having me in your lesson earlier. I enjoyed the challenge presented by the students, and I enjoyed the lesson. Would you like to tell me a little bit how you thought it went and what your evaluation was?
I had the starter bit. I thought I spent longer than I had planned, so the starter became slightly larger than I thought it was. But it was a good opportunity to try and get them to start thinking about what made a cube and what didn't make a cube, because that came out quite strongly, that they could see why, they could fold it up,
Yes,
but they couldn't visualise. They couldn't visualise it and they couldn't explain it. And then I was trying to get them to think about 3 points coming together to prepare them for the next bit. I don't think that many of them picked up on that when we used it on the next bit, but at least it meant that when I was talking about it again, they had it starting to come in their heads. It was nice doing it was magical to them that dice had that rule.
Yes.
Nobody
they
knew
didn't
it.
know, did they?
So
no.
it was quite nice to give them something that was a piece of information they can be using.
Yeah.
One of the things I realised with I wanted to get them to be manipulating and actually cutting out, because visualising is quite hard, but actually on reflection the Smarty boxes are too small. So the thing they were finding difficult was that Smarty boxes were too small.
And it all became a bit fiddly, didn't it?
It became very, very fiddly. And what was lovely was, who was it? Claudia was doing them all wrong. And actually, I think they learnt more from what's completely wrong than ones that were partly right. They were finding it very difficult to move on to the next bit. So going around trying to tease out of them what made it work, what didn't make it work. I think that's the bit we were successful at, was actually starting to work out what did make a net and what didn't make a net. But actually trying to find different nets, we've got to do quite a lot more work on thinking about that.
I agree. If you reflect back on your learning objectives, to what extent do you think you achieved them?
I think they can recognise a net, but I don't think they can find different ones yet.
Yeah.
I think they're starting to. So I missed out an objective,
and they weren't much good on congruence either.
No.
One or two got an idea after thinking about it, but they didn't get that. Only a few, I think.
I think actually once you've got a real thing like a Smarty box, congruence becomes quite an important to them. And actually, congruence in terms of the Smarty box, things that we would be looking like reflection or rotation, actually are quite important in the Smarty box, and they would be classed as different. Whereas I was going to try and work them towards them being not allowed as different, but actually they didn't really need that yet. Some of them didn't really realise that there was a lot more scope to the task as well. So when I spoke to one child, I've got one. I hadn't made it clear there was over 20 different answers. No, so I think I could have tried to open. If a couple of them weren't challenging themselves, they thought, well, I can do this is easy, whereas actually there was quite a lot more there they could get at, and I probably hadn't really made them fully aware of that as well. Yeah,
I think that's a fair summary. Shall I give you a quick rundown of what I thought? First of all, about the learning, I thought the children enjoyed the lesson. I thought that they said they felt they made progress. I thought most did. I wasn't convinced about all making good progress. They certainly behaved well during the lesson. I saw little off-task behaviour, although, as you say, the nature of the activity and the fiddliness of the bits meant that there was a lot of time with sellotape and card and not enough with mathematics, perhaps, I thought. You've created a nice atmosphere in the classroom. I think they're unafraid, they're willing to contribute. I liked the use of the pair partners. There was good cooperation between the students, good mutual support, and I thought the transitions between the bits of the lessons worked well. One of the boys said the lesson made him think, which I thought was encouraging. And overall, I just said the learning was satisfactory with strengths. I don't think it was better than that, because it was a bit too patchy to be good. The teaching was well organised. I think it was well planned, although the translation of the plan into practice created, as you say, the fiddliness, for example, created one or two difficulties. You're beginning to build a good mathematical vocabulary with the students, and I thought that the teaching assistant met a number of needs in the classroom as well, so the support and the dialogue between her and you also, I think, was helpful. They didn't really get to the learning objectives, apart from the finding the nets bit. And I think it would have been a bit better to have reviewed the objectives subsequently with the students and just say, well, look, we've got this, or who's got this, and this is where we're going to go next, so that they knew the direction of your thinking as well. I've got 2 or 3 even betters if you'd like them. And probably worth saying before that I thought the children's behaviour was good. I think the teaching was on the edge of good, but not quite good, because the kids' progress wasn't good enough. And I think that the areas that I'd suggest that you think about, which I think you've actually said yourself really, is try to keep the lesson objectives in mind all the time, so that you're able to reflect back on them with the children, and they understand both at the outset and at the end what the lesson's about and where they've achieved and where they haven't. And your objectives actually in the plan were very good, I thought, but actually it wasn't reflected well enough in the children's understanding of it. And I think the folders are a bit scrappy, and I think that there may be a scope to organise the students' work a bit better, so that the marking and the quality of their work reflects good feedback to them and a valuing of quality, because it feels scrappy again. And if you look at a child and say, what are you proud of in their book, they sort of say, well, I've got a good book, but actually a lot of their good work is in their rough book. And there's actually a lot of good stuff as well. For example, the reviews you've done with them of their evaluations of progress, which is just on a little loose sheet in the folder. And I think to make all that more coherent would be better for the children. So overall, nearly good, but not quite for the reasons I've outlined there.
Okay.
How's that sound? Okay.
That sounds okay, yes.
Okay, well, thank you very much for participating. I am very grateful to you.
Thank you.